Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Dribble, the show where we take a closer look into the Boston Celtics, the rest of the NBA, and whatever else might come up. My name is Luke Irwin, and I am your host. Real quick episode today. I just want to get something in before the weekend, and while the Celtics home opener, banner night, ring night, is kind of fresh in our brains, what a game. And then obviously we faced the Wizards, and this weekend we faced the Pistons, which Jaylen Brown famously said, when we're going to be playing the Pistons, we're going to play through Peyton Pritchard, and he's probably going to have 30, and we'll still win. So he had a major slight to the Pistons. They will have something to say about that. They've looked pretty good in their opener. Cade Cunningham looks great. So I think actually Saturday night, even though it's just the Pistons, is going to be a fun night of basketball. But like I said, quick episode today. We're just going to talk Knicks Celtics opening game, kind of Celtics outlook real quick, and then we're also going to go into some film. I haven't broken down film here on this channel yet, so I'm going to break down some film, see what I saw in that opening game and what maybe things to look forward to moving forward. So yeah, not so much to get into, but I still suggest we do, because this is The Dribble.
Celtics are NBA champions.
Okay, like I said, the Celtics make pretty quick work of the New York Knicks, 132-109, banner night, ring night. It was so special. JT message to the crowd was, "You're the best fans in the world. Let's go do it again." That was awesome. And then seeing that banner go up, it is always a great time in Boston when a new banner, a fresh banner, goes up into the rafters. So that was a great night. But then we continued our championship feeling, our championship pedigree onto the court with a pretty impressive and incredible win against the Knicks. The new look Knicks, who have basically catered their team to beat a team like the Celtics by adding wings. And so, wings that are defensive wings who can score big, kind of long, lanky to contend with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And obviously on night one, game one, the Knicks were not in playoff shape. Obviously, they're a new team. There's been a lot of moving pieces. DiVincenzo, Hartenstein, Randall, all of those guys off. Mikal Bridges and his new weird jump shot we'll talk about. And obviously Karl Anthony Towns on this team as well. So it takes a second to gel. But we're going to go over some of the Celtics numbers real quick. Talk about kind of what the Knicks did to allow the Celtics to do that. And then we're going to dive into just a few clips of film to break down to kind of accentuate that point. So let's get right into it. So yeah, like I said, it was pretty dominating. Celtics tied the league-wide record for threes in a game with 29, tying the Bucks from a few years ago. And they missed 13 consecutive three-pointers in the final 8 minutes or so of the fourth quarter, just trying to break the record. They were kind of just hucking up shots the entire time. And still, by just throwing up shots, not playing great basketball, just kind of hunting a record, which you never like to see, but we were up so big. None of the starters played in the fourth quarter. It's okay at that point to do. But still, after missing 13 straight threes, like I said, trying to chase the record, we still won by 23 points, which that will tell you how the first three quarters went. Okay, let's dive into some numbers. Celtics had 130 offensive rating when in static offensive positions. So half-court sets, essentially. So there's transition and half-court sets. Half-court sets are when the defense is set and settled, and you kind of run a set out of you run a play in the half-court. And so this was the Knicks defense set. They had 130 offensive rating in those situations. So you take out all the transition, which were an excellent transition team, take away the transition plays, and we still scored 1.3 points per possession. That's 130 offensive rating, and that's really good. 1.25 points per possession is very good. 1.3 points per possession in the half court alone is incredible, especially with a team that has defensive players, right? Mikal Bridges, obviously, we just talked about. Cat can protect the paint. They have Josh Hart, obviously, and OG Anunoby, one of the best wing defenders, and Brunson is an effort player as well. And it's a Tom Thibodeau coach defense, which they always excel on the basketball court on the defensive end. Within those 69 jumpers the Celtics had, 69, and they scored 1.34 points per possession on the jumpers. They generated 20 wide open threes. So what stat books count as like a completely wide open three, a lot of separation, not a guarded three. For everybody who's saying the Celtics are just hucking up threes, they're getting great shots wide open, making the extra pass, passing up a good shot to get a great shot, which is what Joe Mazzulla and Mazzulla ball is kind of all about. So yeah, they generated 20 wide open threes. That's 1.65 points per possession. Again, incredible. They also had 30 off the dribble jumpers in this game, and they made 14 of them, so shooting about 50% off the dribble. Again, off the dribble shooting is a little bit tougher than catch and shoot. It's usually not completely open because if you're dribbling, there's usually somebody guarding you. So they shoot about 50% from there. I mean, look, some of these points per possession numbers are incredible. So the Celtics have 1.23 points per possession in the pick and roll. So when running pick and roll, 1.23 overall they have. And I'm going to talk more about the pick and roll. And when we do film, I'm going to break down a lot of pick and roll plays because the Celtics certainly like to run those. In ISO situations, the Boston Celtics were 1.71 points per possession. Again, use the kind of tracker that 1.25 is considered very good. It's not average. 1 is about average. 1.25 getting around there is like really good offensive stuff. 1.71 points per possession in isolation situations. Again, isolation situations are also even lower than the typical because you're ISOing, you're not really moving too much. So 1.71 in ISO situations, that's the talent of the Celtics coming through. And then in post-ups, right? Post-up game in the NBA seems to be a little bit lost, but the Celtics can do a little bit of everything. 1.75 points per possession in post-up situations. Again, 1.75. Those numbers, 1.23, 1.71, 1.75, are incredible. Not to mention, while executing this level of offense, the Celtics had 33 assists. The lead leader last year, the Indiana Pacers, who broke records for an amazing offense that they had, averaged 30.8 assists per game. So 33 assists is very heavy. Again, for everybody saying they're just jacking up threes, these were assisted plays. They just played incredible. And of 33 assists, they only had 4 total turnovers in this game. 33 assists, 4 total turnovers. That is efficient, powerful, offensive, talented, in your face, like this poster says, basketball. So yeah, and just incredibly efficient by the Celtics, and they just looked mid-season form. And of course, the Knicks, like I said, are still kind of figuring some stuff out. I think they will be okay. Don't worry, New York fans. It's one game. I'm sure you're not freaking out, but I know some New York fans can be a little overreactive. But last time the league averaged, by the way, with the assist to turnover ratio, for comparison, the Knicks on that opening night had 20 assists to the Celtics 33. And of the 20 assists, they had 12 turnovers to the Celtics 4 turnovers, which compared to 33 assists to 4 turnovers, 20 assists to 12 turnovers seems like a really bad night, but it's closer to the average than you think. It's just the Celtics were that good tonight, or that night on Tuesday night. The average last year was 25.5 assists per game for teams. Like I said, some teams in the 30s, some teams around 20 assists. So 25.5 assists was the league average last year to 13.5 turnovers. So again, the Knicks were closer to the average of last year. So it's not that they were terrible. It's just that the Celtics were executing at such a high level. But it begs the question, right? Why were the Celtics playing at such a high level? And we'll get into some of the film as well. But the Celtics just attacked all night, Brunson and Cat, all night long. They were just hunting that matchup. Obviously, the size against Brunson. The Celtics are long, strong. They can all shoot, so they can shoot over a guy like Brunson. So it's a liability on defense to have him, even though he's great with loose balls and, playing hustle ball. And then Cat, all night long, hunting that matchup, just involving either one of them, but mostly Cat in some sort of screen with Tatum, especially. We're going to talk about Tatum here in just a second. Tatum as the ball handler, he's basically stepped into our point forward role. He's just the point forward of this team. He basically runs the offense. Even if it's not him getting a shot or an assist or anything like that, he initiates the offense. We play at our best and most efficient when he brings the ball up or when he has the ball at the top of the key. Usually it's him or Derek White that starts the offense off. But when Tatum has it in his hands first, we're extremely efficient. But the problem that I saw with the Knicks was that they were playing drop coverage. Karl Anthony Towns is really good at protecting the paint. He's big, he's athletic, he's quick, right? He's very mobile. But his perimeter defense is not so great, and he historically plays drop coverage. If you don't know, drop coverage is essentially somebody comes off a pick, you're hedging that the person coming off the pick, you want to protect the paint as much as possible. And so you kind of step back. You play drop coverage, right? You drop in to make sure that you protect any kind of driving lanes or passing lanes that might be in sight. Now, you can do this with someone who can't shoot, but Jason Tatum has perfected or at least changed a little bit his jump shot. Obviously, we know he had that hitch, that little hitch that he did, bang, with the ball, and it looks like he kind of eliminated that or at least reduced it significantly. So Jason Tatum was just, again, killing it off of the pick and roll game with Towns playing drop coverage. And then after the first half, right, they come out of the second half and they start, Cat obviously was told by Thibodeau to not play drop coverage and to press, right? As soon as the screen comes up, guard heavy and rely on the switches. But as soon as you do that, you're stuck in a little bit of a double team situation, fresh off of the pick. Tatum moves it immediately. He's gotten so good at moving the ball quickly out of a double team, and then around the horn the ball goes, and another triple for the Celtics. So they just found themselves in a situation where you play drop coverage, and Tatum's hot, shooting what he was shooting. There's just not much you can do. The 51 points that Jason Tatum scored in Game 7, the most points in Game 7 history, was against the Sixers, and Joel Embiid was playing drop coverage the entire game. He comes off a screen. There's Joel kind of waiting for him. 6 feet of separation. Tatum's going to pull up. Okay. Then Embiid starts pressing forward. Tatum's blowing by him, going to the rack, and there's just nothing you can do. That's what makes, when JT's in that mode and shooting like that, and he's passing the way he's passing, he had 10 assists in this game as well. It's going to be impossible, nearly impossible to beat these Celtics. He destroys big men who play drop coverage. It's just historical. Like I said, Joel Embiid, Game 7, 51. You can ask Nick Claxton of the Nets when Jason Tatum dropped 54 on the Nets and Nick Claxton just played drop coverage the entire time. Or you can ask Miles Turner and Obi Toppin from the Pacers. Last year, Game 3 on the road, Tatum scored 38, 10, and 8 in that game. I know he didn't get Eastern Conference Finals MVP, but 38, 10, and 8 on the road in the playoffs. I mean, that's impressive. That's impressive. And again, Miles Turner and Obi Toppin just play drop coverage because they aren't great perimeter defenders. What are you going to do? You risk him beating you off the dribble, and then he swings it, and you get Derek White wide open. You get Drew Holiday wide open. You get Kristaps Porzingis wide open. You get Jaylen Brown wide open. You get any of these guys wide open, and they can all shoot. Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, all threats. So, yeah, he just destroys them. And like I said, Cat kind of started pressing, and that's what happened in the second half. Let's keep on Jason Tatum, because this is my show, and he's my favorite player on the Celtics. And he just played a perfect game and started an MVP candidacy in that game. And then, of course, went on, we beat the Wizards last night, which isn't news, and Tatum had 25, 10, and 6 in 29 minutes of basketball. Didn't play in the fourth quarter again. But he came out swinging, like I said, Jason Tatum, and he had a message for Steve Kerr. A lot of hate in Jason Tatum's DMs and all over the internet since the Celtics won the championship. Usually a player wins the championship and they get more popular. He gets less popular because Jaylen Brown wins the MVP, and just the league kind of forgot who he was. And now they're all surprised. He scores 37, 10, and 4 in this game, and they seem surprised. 37, 10, and 4 on 78% shooting. Absolutely insane. He was 8 for 11 from deep and 11 for 13 on all jumpers, and he got into the paint a few times, and then the assists were just left-handed. Just absolute. Well, again, we'll show it in film, but he just was absolutely incredible in this game in all facets, and he was great on defense as well. But This fuel for hate that people have had for Jason Tatum over the offseason, if you're not a Celtic fan, was fueled by the Olympics, right? You have the Avengers are assembled, and Jason Tatum has 2 DNPs from Steve Kerr. I'm sure you've heard about it. Everybody's making a big deal out of it, but it made a lot of people say, see, even out of these players, Steve Kerr knows, and he's a great coach, that Tatum isn't even as good as these guys. Booker's better than Tatum. Ant's better than all these guys who are getting minutes. Or Bam's better than Tatum. And Steve Kerr famously said to Jason Tatum before a game against Serbia that before the game, Jason Tatum, the reigning NBA champion, 3-time first-team All-NBA, and this year, or last year, but the year that I'm talking about, he was the only American on the first-team All-NBA team. Only American. And then you assemble 12 Americans, and you say, only American to make the first-team All-NBA. And he says, Tatum, before the game, I just don't think we're going to be able to find minutes for you tonight. Before the game, I get it. If you're in the throes of competition, he's not playing well, or he hasn't been playing well, and you stick with the guys who are on fire. But to predetermine, say we're not going to find minutes for you tonight, that level of player, are you kidding me? It's just ridiculous. So anyway, we saw on Tuesday what he's capable of. Oh wait, real quick, I just want to say, Steve Kerr, maybe this was a message that he was sending. Opening night against the Trailblazers, Steve Kerr plays 12-man rotation. A 12-man rotation. And in the first quarter, he played 11. And his whole reasoning when asked, why didn't you play Jason Tatum? And he said, I felt like an idiot. Why didn't you play Jason Tatum? He said, it's hard to find minutes for more than 10 guys. And he was sticking with a 10-man rotation. Opening game of the NBA season, he plays 12 guys on a team that does not have 12 guys that are worth playing. And in the first quarter, he plays 11. First quarter, 12 minutes of basketball. So he couldn't find room for Jason Tatum, 3-time All-NBA, first team All-NBA, 4-time All-NBA altogether, NBA champion, Eastern Conference Finals MVP of 2022, 5-time All-Star MVP, 30 points per game a couple years ago, cover a 2K. He can't find any minutes, predetermined, can't find any minutes in a 40-minute game against Serbia. But against the Portland Trailblazers with his sorry Warriors, he can find minutes for 12 offensive players. Okay, Steve Kerr. Well, we saw, like I said, what Jason Tatum, what type of player he was. He reminded the world, because everybody was saying, see, he's really not that good. Not a great finals. Plus didn't play in the Olympics. Didn't even win Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, he's really not that good. Comes out, like I said, 37 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists, 78% from the floor, and didn't even touch the fourth quarter. They didn't even need him. He hasn't played a fourth quarter yet against the Wizards or against this team. So, it is what it is. So, wait, real quick. So we're going to do some film, but real quick before I do. Crazy stat. This is a crazy stat, the most mind-blowing stat of the night. I already went over a lot of points per possession, right? We're going to talk about another amazing points per possession stat that the Celtics had against the Knicks. So the Celtics ran 24 ball screens with Jason Tatum. 24 ball screens involving Jason Tatum in some way, whether he was the screener or he was the one with the ball. 24. Out of the 24 ball screens that they ran with Jason Tatum, the Celtics scored 55 points in that game alone. They shot 20 for 24 in those situations. So when Jason Tatum initiated or was part of a ball screen, their efficiency, they were 20 for 24. That is 2.29 points per possession. 2.29. Again, remember, I said 1.23 or 1.25 is like considered very good, like a very high level offense. 2.29 means they were getting over the accumulative of a layup or jump shot every single possession on those 24 possessions where Jason Tatum was involved in a ball screen. That means like I said, the point forward for this team, Jason Tatum, who now runs the offense, he is the center of the offense. It all starts with him. That's how efficient we are. And we saw it again against the Wizards. It wasn't that high, nearly that high. But we saw us run things through him, and we blew that team out easily. We, shouldn't be proud of that, but the Wizards are the Wizards. But 2.29 points per possession when Jason Tatum has the ball in a ball screen, or is involved in a ball screen, I should say. So let's take a look at some of those plays, right? Let's go ahead and let's pull up some film. Let's break it down. Okay, so like I said, doing some film here. First play of the entire game. The first play of the game, the crowd is hyped up. Let's take a look at it. So, of course, the tip-off we have here. And what's going to end up happening is we're going to run a set with Mikal Bridges on Jason Tatum. Now, the ball goes to Jason Tatum, right? And immediately you see Al Horford, who has Cat on him, right? You see Al Horford come up right away. No time wasted to set a screen on Mikal Bridges. Now, just watch what Karl Anthony Towns here, who's guarding Al Horford, watch what he does as Horford sets the screen. So take it back a little bit. Ball goes to JT. Horford comes up, sets the screen, and then look at Karl Anthony Towns' feet. He's right over here as Jason Tatum's dribbling towards him. Karl Anthony Towns is in drop coverage, and look at him just backpedal with Jason Tatum, who's a lethal three-point shooter, just changed his shot also, but is prolific 38, 39, 40% from the three. So, watch this. So he goes boom and backpedal. And even this, where Jason Tatum right here is in a shooting motion, he's pulling the ball up. He has two hands on the ball. Look at Karl Anthony Towns, number 32 right there. Look at his feet. He takes one more step back. Boom. One step back. And now Jason Tatum is in the full shot, completely uncontested, open gym. And of course, that's a bucket right there. So that's an example of that drop coverage I was talking about. You see here Karl Anthony Towns immediately off the screen. First play, walking backwards as Jason Tatum steps into an open jumper. Okay, let's check out the next one. Okay, so here we have a kind of mid-transition play right here, and Derek White's bringing the ball up, and obviously Brunson is trailing him, as you can see, and Karl Anthony Towns, if you can't see, is in kind of the middle of everything, and again, he is backpedaling. Now, like I said, Karl Anthony Towns likes to play drop coverage, gets him some blocks every once in a while, but as Derek White goes, he is a threat to go the entire way, but he's also a threat from three, and look at who's on the floor. Jason Tatum, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and I believe Drew Holiday is also in. These are all people who can shoot threes. And look at Karl Anthony Towns. Backpedaling. Derek White stops here at the top of the key to kind of assess the situation. And Karl Anthony Towns is already in the paint. Karl Anthony Towns is taking a step into the paint, and all of the Celtics are above the key. Nobody's even just on the baseline, let alone in the paint. And he's already in the paint. So he plays his drop coverage. Derek White kind of hesitates, brings it in, immediately sucks the defense in. Now Drew Holiday trailing. Ball gets to Drew without hesitation. Drew touch passes it to Brown, and look at Karl Anthony Towns. Flat-footed, standing in the paint. Ball goes to Brown, and now we see Karl Anthony Towns realize that he's supposed to be the rotating man, but you can't rotate when you've been sitting in the paint on a transition with all the Celtics above the break. So he's out late to get out, and Jaylen Brown cans it. Again, that's just another example. We'll see it in full time here. That's just another example of Karl Anthony Towns just not in the right position and not knowing the personnel. They come down, he waits, reads the defense. Karl Anthony Towns nowhere in the rotation. So this is just an expert play right here by Jason Tatum, like truly unbelievable play by Jason Tatum. And this is what I mean when I talk about his passing has improved so much this year. This is a play that he, and not a lot of people can make, but this is why he averaged like 10 assists essentially in some of the series last year, and why he has just been putting up high assist numbers. Game one of the finals, I think he had 13 assists or 11 assists or something like that, but he's just been tallying them up. In this game, he had 10 assists, and it wasn't all just because the Celtics were shooting hot from three. Look at this. So we come down, Jason Tatum, fresh off of a steal. He's got Brunson on him, the smaller Brunson. This is a favorable matchup. He can see over the top of him. Now, as the play develops, you see Luke Cornett here coming into the paint. Luke Cornett, top of the key, kind of running into the paint, and it'll be him and Al Horford in the paint, kind of mucking things up. Luke Cornett goes into the paint, and right here, as you can see, Tatum's at the top of the at the elbow with the ball, and right now you see Al Horford starting to run towards the corner, because the key with the Celtics team is spacing. Everything's about spacing. No two guys really in one spot at one time. You allow the defense to set themselves and find the ball and find the man. So you see Al Horford immediately sprinting to the corner here by Tatum. Now Tatum could go to Al. We do that a lot. But as this develops, you also have Peyton Pritchard. Notice Peyton Pritchard down by the referee here. Peyton Pritchard is wide open, waving for the ball. Hey, I'm open. Give me the ball. So you have two defenders and two Celtics. And three Celtics really on this weak side of the ball. You have Al Horford sprinting to the strong side corner. You have Luke Cornett in the middle, and you have Peyton Pritchard wide open. Now you cannot just let Al Horford go to the corner. They've been shooting threes all night. So of course you're going to have to chase out there. And then Mikal Bridges down here has to go to Peyton Pritchard because you have to honor that wide open 3-point shot. You've been giving up 3-point shots wide open all night. So as you see, Tatum sees this developing. And before the players really make a move, Al Horford goes to the corner. Mikal Bridges is forced to go close out on Pritchard. And look at this pass by Tatum. Left-handed bullet. Boom. Right into Luke Cornett. He does the up fake, and he goes in. First of all, that's just a beautiful pass all around. But second, just the ability to see this in time. Let's break it down frame by frame. So here he comes. Tatum's dribbling. We see Al sprinting towards the corner. Mikal Bridges has to leave Cornett and go to Pritchard. And as soon as the defender goes to chase Al just a little bit, look at him step out, barely. Tatum's already throwing the pass, seeing that the player's momentum is gone. Right into Cornett. And then, of course, a great finish. So that's another example of Jason Tatum just being on a different level that night, but also it looks like from where he was last year in the playoffs, just on a different level right now. Okay, so here's the next play. And this is going to be two straight plays in a row. So in this play, the Celtics run an action called stack action. It's a type of basketball action where you have a down screen and then you have a second down screen right after. You stack the screens essentially. So the person who's coming up to set the screen, their defender, will then also get screened from behind. So it's like a double screen, a stack screen. That's why they call it stack. Celtics run it a lot. So, of course, the Knicks and Tibbs have been looking out for this. So they go ahead and if you can hear it, I might be able to play it, might not be able to play it, but you can hear Tibbs and Josh Hart, kind of the voice of the defense, saying stack, stack, stack. They're saying stack, stack. They're calling out the play. So this defender here who's on Cornett, you can see as soon as this happens, he hears stack, and look at him turn. You see right there? You see that defender that was on Cornett? He turns around because he's expecting a stack screen. So instead of being surprised by it, he turns and he looks for the stack screen. And that's him right there. He turns and look at him. Look at where his body is going. He's trying to brace for the impact of the screen, the stack screen coming. And he's backing up, looking behind him with Jason Tatum coming downhill on opening night. So of course Tatum just dribbles into it. No, the stack screen comes. Jason Tatum, wide open three, cash. Again, look at it in real time. Look at he yells stack, and the defender immediately, look at his head, comes up, and instead of playing Tatum straight up, Josh Hart yells stack, stack, stack. He turns, he backpedals, expects it. Tatum steps into it. Bang. And then here's the next play. Same exact play. Well, actually, first, before I go, I'm going to just play that in full and see if I can't put the volume in it as well. Let's do that one more time.
Puzzle is missing. It's Kristaps Porzingis. He is slated to return in December. He's shooting. He's conditioning.
There you go. Okay, so like I said, same exact play. This is like 1 second early. This is the next set that the Celtics run. Same thing. Cornett comes up. His man has to follow. Cornett comes up to set the screen. As soon as this happens, right here, they yell stack again. Josh Hart noticed it, yell stack. But this time, the stack screen doesn't come. The Celtics just set it up like they were going to do a stack screen, but it was actually a decoy. No stack screen comes. The Knicks are kind of all out of sorts. The defender immediately hears stack, turns, looks for it, but it never comes. Like I said, Jason Tatum wide open for three. So again, same play, same, but different. No stack screen comes, but look at him here. He comes up. He's immediately, he hears stack, stack, stack. He looks, and boom, now all of a sudden he's lost Jason Tatum. Steps up, banks it. That's just Jason Tatum right there. Okay, a couple more plays. This one right here is just a beautiful pass real quick by Tatum. He comes around. He has the screen by Cornette. He takes it to the left. And before anybody can even react to what Jason Tatum's doing, look at this left-handed hook that zooms by. Look at that. Zooms by Cornette's face and hits Derek White on the money for a three. And look at Deuce McBride. This is why he makes this pass. Deuce McBride takes one step toward the paint as Jason Tatum gets down. All eyes on Tatum. One step right there, in. And Tatum knows it. Tatum sees Deuce McBride on his heels, slings this pass, perfect shooting motion, another three. That's just an incredible pass. Look at this. That's intense. Okay, let's see. Let's do another one here. Okay, so this is a great play. This is just, I said that they were switching on to Brunson and Cat a lot. This is how they were switching on to Brunson because the Knicks did not want Tatum on Brunson, or Brunson on Tatum, rather. So they come off, they set this screen, and Tatum's just going to grab his jersey, essentially, and say, nope, I know you want to switch, but you're actually sticking with me. Has Brunson stick to him. You can see Brunson kind of wants to get out of it. He holds him. He's holding him, so they can't make the switch. He gets it, and then Tatum just is too big for Brunson to guard. Goes into the paint. Contact. Should have been an and one. All right. A couple more here. This one I just want to show because it's an awesome play by Jason Tatum, and it's just cool, and it was a nice play. I'm not even going to... There's no analysis needed because this is just iso ball, but this is just beautiful. And this is on Mikal Bridges, who the Knicks specifically signed to be a Jason Tatum stopper. And look at the skates that Tatum puts Mikal Bridges on. Check this out.
7 and 4 in this building, right? So everyone had to come through here. Look at this. Look at this.
By Tatum.
That's a sweet move. That's one more time, real quick, just to see the shimmy.
7 and 4 in this building, right? So everyone had to come through here. Look at this. Look at this.
By Tatum.
Tough to stop that. All right, last one. We have Jason Tatum at the top of the screen. This is moments before Tatum went out in the third quarter because he didn't need to play the fourth with 37, 10, and 4 in this game. Jason Tatum comes off the screen. And remember, in the first half, they were playing drop coverage on this, and Tatum was lighting them up. So what do? They said, well, we can't keep playing drop coverage on this. Tatum's going to have 60 points in this game. In these pick and roll situations, Cat, go ahead and step up. Right, in these situations. So Karl Anthony Towns, you see here, steps up. Look at how much higher he is than before. Before he was backpedaling all the way to the elbow. And look at him now, pressing the ball up, up, up. He presses it even more. Some hands. Mikal Bridges goes to double off of the screen. You see Mikal Bridges come. Now they have him in a corner. Now, Jason Tatum and most of the league would probably pass to Al Horford. Al Horford's right here. Mikal Bridges just came off Al Horford. So, of course, you would just kind of slip it to Al and get out of the double team, right? But Tatum knows that the league knows that. And you have OG Anunoby stepping up to Al Horford here. So Tatum, brilliant move, skip passes it to White, and then White touch passes it over to Brown, and it's an easy three. Double team, skip pass to White here. White just moves it to Brown. Bottoms. Again, that play, super simple. But out of this is why you can't double team this team. So you're either going to have to double team Jason Tatum and give up an wide open three by one of their 40% 3-point shooters, or you're going to have to just let Tatum cook one-on-one. So you're kind of screwed either way with this Celtics team. So like I said, again, no drop coverage here. Watch it again. Screen comes, steps up, they trap. Instead of going to Al Horford because he sees OG Anunoby here, he skip passes to White, and then it's a 2v1 game. Touch pass to Brown. Bottoms. Okay, so that's it. That was me breaking down some film for the first time on camera. Hope you liked it. If you did, maybe I'll do it more often with some games because it's a good way to kind of look at the game and see exactly what the Celtics are doing to put up such historical numbers. Anyway, like I said, game this weekend against the Pistons, and then Monday night against the Milwaukee Bucks in Boston. That's going to be a great game. Dame, Giannis. It's going to be a fantastic game. Cannot wait. I think the two top teams in the East when it's all said and done. Maybe the Knicks. Those are the top three for me. especially with Joel Embiid sitting out all back-to-backs, which, by the way, the NBA is investigating this Joel Embiid situation because you got to play the games if you're healthy, right? Okay, so that's about it. Tune in next week, probably break down the Bucks game for you, and we'll talk kind of more stuff with that. And then we'll also get Timmy KGB again for more Major Wager. If you've not seen the Major Wager episode, it is all futures. Go check it out. We talk future win totals for a couple teams. We do a draft. We do MVP. And we also did a kind of like you choose wild card pick as well. And we chose who we think is going to win the championship. So we put $500 down, big money on week 1. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and like and subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. And I'll talk to you soon. But this has been fun. But more importantly, this has been the Dribble.